First, you need to understand something. Modern humans have basically never experienced real night. And this wasn't rare. This was every single night, for every single person, for basically all of human history. No streetlights. No porch light. No glow from a neighbor's TV. Just nothing. So what do you do, every single day, for 8+ hours, when there is functionally nothing to see and nothing to do? The answer starts with fire. Evidence for controlled fire use goes back hundreds of thousands of years, and once early humans could reliably keep a flame going, night stopped being just the scary empty hours and became something else, a second, smaller version of the day. Fire pushed back predators. Most large predators are wary of flame, so a fire wasn't just warmth, it was a security system. Fire meant cooked food could continue into the evening, extending the useful day. Firelight is dim and flickering compared to any modern light source. Good enough to see faces and shapes, nowhere near enough to read or do fine detail work. So the fire solved the safety problem. But it didn't solve the boredom problem. You're sitting in a small circle of orange light, surrounded by pitch black, 4 hours. No phone. No book. What do you actually do with that time? This is where it gets interesting, because there's a real anthropological theory here, not just speculation. Researchers studying modern-day hunter-gatherer societies, used as a comparative model for ancient lifestyles, not a perfect stand-in, have found that daytime conversation tends to be practical, logistics, complaints, coordination. Nighttime conversation around the fire shifts heavily towards storytelling, myths, gossip, jokes, songs. The theory: firelight is the original shared screen. It's dim enough that you can't do productive work, but bright enough to sit together and focus on one speaker. That combination, forced idleness plus shared attention, may have been one of the conditions that helped stories, myths, and cultural knowledge get passed down efficiently. Storytelling at night had a practical side too. Myths encoding real survival information, where predators live, which plants are dangerous, moral lessons about cooperation, dressed up as entertainment so people would actually remember them. So in a weird way, the campfire was humanity's first television. Structured, communal, one story at a time, no rewind button. If you missed something, you missed it, which honestly explains why the same 12 myths just kept getting repeated for 10,000 years. Now here's the part that actually breaks people's brains a little. Historical records from pre-industrial Europe describe something called first sleep and second sleep. People going to bed shortly after dark, waking naturally in the middle of the night for an hour or two, then going back down for a second block of sleep until morning. During that awake middle window, people reportedly prayed, talked with a bed partner, did small quiet tasks, or just lay there thinking, described almost like a normal, expected part of the night rather than insomnia. Important nuance: this pattern is documented mainly from historical written records, a specific researcher's work on pre-industrial sleep habits. And it's debated how universal or ancient it actually was. Present, it is one well-documented historical pattern. Not how literally all humans throughout history slept. So the 3 a.m. YMI awake spiral you've had, there's a real chance that, for some of history, that wasn't a malfunction. It might have just been Tuesday. Part 2 of the night. Let's talk about what nighttime actually sounded and felt like, because it's not what you're picturing. With no ambient hum of electricity, traffic, or appliances, ancient night would have been dramatically quieter overall, but every individual sound, a snapping twig, a distant howl, would stand out far more sharply, with nothing to mask it. This likely made humans much more attuned to sound as a threat detection system at night than we are today, an evolutionary hangover that some researchers connect to why unfamiliar noises at night still spike anxiety in modern humans, even in a locked house in a safe neighborhood. Groups likely took informal turns staying semi-alert, not necessarily a strict night watch schedule, in early prehistory, but a natural byproduct of mixed sleep patterns. The two sleeps idea from chapter 4, meaning someone in the group was very often at least half awake, because the dark was genuinely dangerous. Most cultures didn't just experience the night, they built rules around it. Many folk traditions across vary. Different cultures independently. Developed don't. Go out after dark warnings. Often wrapped in supernatural stories. Spirits. Monsters. The thing that walks at night. One practical theory, these weren't really about actual monsters. They were social technology. A scary story is a far more effective way to keep children and adults from wandering into real dangers, predators, cliffs, getting lost with zero light source than a plain safety rule would be. This is genuinely one plausible explanation among several that anthropologists have proposed, present as a leading theory, not settled fact. So the monster under the bed might be humanity's oldest parenting hack. For most of human history, night was dark, communal, story-shaped, and split into two halves. Then, in a genuinely tiny sliver of time, candles giving way to gaslighting. Then electric light spreading through cities. All of that changed almost overnight. Historically speaking, electric lighting didn't just let people see in the dark, it restructured sleep into the single continuous block we now think of as normal, compressed storytelling out of the necessary evening ritual and into optional entertainment, and erased the forced, unproductive, communal dark hours that used to exist every single day. The stick figure version of this, we didn't just gain light. We lost a very old, very consistent chunk of shared human time that used to belong to nothing but talking, thinking, and stories. Here's the thing that actually gets me about all this. We didn't get rid of the night. We just filled it with something else. The two sleeps became one long sleep interrupted by a phone. The fire circle story became a show you watch alone. The forced togetherness of nothing else to do but talk became infinite things to do. So nobody has to. For most of human history, night was the one part of the day built entirely around sitting with other people and having nothing to do but talk. We spent 300,000 years perfecting that. And then, in about 150 years, we built our way out of ever needing to do it again. Tonight, when you turn off the light, you'll get the darkness back. Just maybe not the fire circle.